Did you guys know that you can etch without etching cream? Yes, you totally can. So if you're somebody that's not a fan of playing around with something like an etching cream, you can definitely still get the same effect using vinyl. So there is vinyl out there that is called etched vinyl. Lots of different brands, including the Dollar Tree. So you can even snag some of this stuff from your local Dollar Tree. So today we're going to be using some of that faux etching vinyl to achieve that etched look without using the chemicals. So the project that I'm doing is I'm going to be making a little shadow box here, and then we're going to be filling it with faux snow and some lights. And then we're going to be using this bundle right here. So this is the beginner's Christmas bundle. It is so amazing. It is $16 with almost $200 worth of value, and it is packed full of goodies to get you guys started for this holiday season. And we've already made several different crafts out of this bundle, so definitely make sure you check out our other videos. So today, the design that I'm using out of here is this one. And we're going to use this little guy right here that says "Let It Snow." So lots of different options. This is the one I'm going to go with. So I'm going to take you guys over to Cricut Design Space so I can show you how we're going to cut it out. Over here in Cricut Design Space, once you have already uploaded your design, you should have something that looks like this. Now I've already welded mine together. It was in a few different pieces so you can change the colors, but I just wanted it in one piece. So what I've also done is brought in a square, and I sized that square out to the size of this glass. So when I went to measure this, I removed my back and I measured the inside piece here. So that's very important. Don't go by your outside. Make sure you go all the way on the inside there and just measure that glass. So what I got there was 5.5. So I went with 5.5, and then I brought in my design here. So what we want to do is make sure our design is in the front, and then I'll select both of these layers right here. I'll go to align, and then I'll go to center. And so that'll give us that perfect center. Now let me explain. You don't have to do it like this. You could definitely just cut out your design, and then you would place that on there just like you would like a vinyl sticker, and it would look like you etched that area. But what I want to do is make it look like I etched the entire glass except for that area. So what I've done, like I said, I'm going to center this up. Once you have it selected, we're going to go ahead and hit slice. Now if you're not seeing a slice, that's a question I get sometimes. It means that you're selecting more than one layer. So double check that you only have 2 layers. For example, when my design came in, it may be like 5 layers, and you weld that, it'll become 1. So like I said, 2 layers brings up that slice tool. All right, so once you do this, what we're going to be using is this. So that way we're going to weed out all of these pieces, and it's going to leave us with that perfect square. So we're going to go ahead and just delete these layers right here. And we're going to go ahead and send it on over and cut it out. Now I know it's going to be hard to see, but I'm going to go ahead and weed this out really quickly. Like I said, this is like a white. It's really pretty because this one has like a sparkle in it, so it's really, really gorgeous. Like for example, the one that came from the Dollar Tree, it has a little bit of a pattern, so just pay attention to that when y'all purchase them. So I'm going to go ahead and weed out all of those pieces that we normally would keep. So we're technically creating what looks like a stencil. All right, so now that we have it all weeded out there, I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up with a piece of transfer. All right, so I'm just taking my squeegee here and then rubbing this in so we can pick it up. Now also, I forgot to mention that whenever you cut it out, if you're gonna use the square like I did and cut it, like slice it, make sure when you cut it out that you mirror it. Even if you're gonna be doing just a simple design and you put it on the inside of the glass, you need to mirror. Now if you're putting it on the outside, you don't need to mirror, but once again, if you're doing it on the inside, make sure that you mirror. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and carefully trim all the way around because I don't have any extra room on the inside when I go to lay this down. So careful, I'm gonna make sure I trim all the way around. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and remove our back here. You wanna make sure that your glass is clean on the inside and out. Next up, I want to make sure when I go to lay this down that I can lay it down correctly the first time. So what we're going to do is take a piece of parchment paper. I like buying my parchment paper in these ready-to-go sheets. They're just so much easier to cut down. And so since my glass is 5.5 by 5.5, I'm going to do about 5.25 by 5.25, so that way I have a little bit of wiggle room. All right, so now we are ready to lay this inside of the shadow box. So once again, make sure that your glass is nice and clean. I've got my parchment paper here, and I accidentally messed up when I was cutting this. I just cut it down even further. So it's gonna give us a little bit of lip. So whenever I go to put this down, everything should be pretty good to go. So I'm gonna get that guy in there first. We're gonna go ahead and remove the backing from this here. All right, so as you guys can see, we've got everything weeded out, ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carefully get this down and figure out that placement. And then once we're ready to go, I'll be able to get the top part down, lift out that parchment, and then keep going. All right, so everything looks good to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that squeegee at the top there, get that top down. I'm gonna lift this guy back up one last time, and I'm gonna remove that parchment. So what I'm gonna do is slowly work my way. So holding it like this, I'm gonna slowly work from one end to the next. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rub this down. Just like that. So I'm gonna go all the way around now to really rub this in, and we'll remove the carrier sheet. All right, so going back in very carefully, I'm just gonna pick out a corner until I can get that to lift up. All right, so going back in there, we could take that clean cloth just so I don't get no fingerprints. And I'm just kind of carefully rubbing everything down. I'll flip this over so you guys can see. Look at how cool that is. See how it looks frosted? I'm gonna go ahead and bring something under here. And there you guys, hopefully you guys can see this a whole lot better with that black background. How cool is this? So we could definitely leave it with that black background, or I brought in this shimmer. I was gonna see how it looked with this pretty shimmer cardstock in the back. So I'm thinking something like that is gonna be gorgeous. So I'm definitely gonna do that. And then we're gonna add some fairy lights and some faux snow. But look at that. So we did not have to use chemicals. I didn't have to let it sit for a while. I didn't have to, you know, use water involved. I didn't have to do any of that stuff. It is so cool, and it looks like we etched it out. So hopefully it makes sense. So if you guys just put this design, it's gonna look like the etching, and then you would have all the clear. But if you cut it out with that square that's gonna match the same size, it's gonna look like this. It is so cool. I'll bring it up here so hopefully you guys can see that as well, but it is amazing. Now let's go ahead and finish it off. For our background here, I'm gonna go ahead and just take this piece. I already had it cut down to size, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm not gonna even mess with it. It was just cut down. You could cut it down to whatever you want to. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use those same pins that it includes to hold it down. If yours doesn't have pins, for example, it just has a plain background, you could definitely just use some sort of adhesive. All right, so now that we have this, let's go ahead and put our faux snow in here as well as our lights. So this faux snow you can usually find at your craft store, but I actually even found this at the Dollar Tree, and there's even a couple of different sizes. This is the smaller ones, but you can definitely even get them much bigger than this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this guy up. So I purchased my fairy lights off of Amazon. I get like a 20 pack, different colors. This one right here is blue. Once again, tons of colors, or you can get a 20 pack. I can't remember if it's 20, but it's quite a bit. And you could get them all the exact same color, or you can get multiple colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and unwrap this just a little bit, and then I'm actually gonna rewrap it where it'll spread across the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of take this out here a little bit, and then just reattach it. So now I'm using its own wiring just to kind of spread it out a little bit more. So it's gonna look like we have a thing of lights just at the bottom. So you know when you're working with Christmas lights and you have those, so it's just gonna kind of look like we have them kind of down there at the bottom. I'm gonna leave this piece hanging out just like this. That way we can access those buttons. We're gonna get this guy down, and then we're gonna go ahead and add on the back. All right, so we're going back in here. We're gonna actually remove some of that snow. So it was a little bit too much for us to read. So I'm trying to keep it down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump some of that out. That way we're gonna be able to read everything, but it's gonna look like there's some snow. So it says let it snow. All right, so we're gonna try this again. I'm gonna go ahead and close it back up. And there we have it. How stinking cute is that? You can see that snow kind of moving around there. But once we have it on our shelf like this, it's gonna look like I said, you have some little lights down below. So we have that faux snow down there at the bottom. You could create like a little heel, kind of get it over to one side if you wanted to, kind of spread that throughout so you can really read that. And then you're gonna have those lights. All right, for the backing here, for this little piece here that holds our lights, all you simply have to do is run some little dots right here on the back. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get one more right here. and then I'm just gonna adhere it right here on the back. So that one's gonna stay in place, and then you're gonna be able to set it right up on your table, your interior table or something like that. I love it. I'm absolutely obsessed with the way this came out. I promise you it is so much better in person. It's just super hard to capture those lights and that etching on camera with the lights and everything. So I highly recommend that you guys try this out. Super duper cheap stuff, and you guys are going to love it. So if you guys do remake this, or if you guys are going to recreate it, let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure you guys join our Facebook community group, because over there you can share your projects with us so we can check them out as well. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.